Yeah, we'll call it now. So yeah, Almass. Yes,
Hi.
is that the right pronunciation?
How did you say it?
Um, I said Almass.
Almas. So with it,
Almass. Almass. Almass.
yeah, Elmas is a version with E. So like my name can be spelled with an E as well.
Okay, I'll say Almass. Al
Almas, yeah.
Almass. Almass. Okay, great.
hmm
For the people watching, if you'd like to give us a bit of a bio on yourself, like if you'd like to introduce yourself.
So my name is Almas. I am a director. I'm a DJ. I work across loads of different creative practices, um, and I spend a lot of time processing and input and outputting, and the output is creative, and that's what everyone gets to see.
Nice, 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 nice. So you're super creative. Yeah, we met on one of your sets at Ace,
hmm
which was super, like you had a really super dope set. So I just remembered like you're really good, you know. And obviously I really do appreciate dope DJs because when you come across the bad ones, it makes you really appreciate like how good a DJ is and how important they are to set the vibe and the tone, at an event. So yeah, yeah, you're a dope DJ. But how did you get into like DJing? How, like, when did you start?
Um, I think like there's something to be said about like connection and synergy, like when you're playing out and when you're receiving like a set as well. So um I think it's nice when people come and tell you, especially if you're playing stuff that you like to play and someone comes and tells you that you're playing a good set, that feels extra special because
Mm,
it's like they're vibing with what your natural vibe was anyway. Because I love to play stuff that I love. Do you know what I mean? That's
yeah.
like the most fun part of it. Um, I got into DJing because I was always curious, but one of my friends, he's a producer and a DJ that goes under the name Control, and he first told me just how to like find a beat on vinyl, and so like just standing there and just like finding like scratching and just or just yeah just trying to find it, and I was like, oh my god, like that's the minute when I realized that there was just so much to learn from going from that to being able to play a set. That's like a skill set in itself. But then the real journey for me has been trying to develop taste. So what exactly what you said, which is the selection and the way that you're building your set, like the journey that you're trying to take people on from beginning to end, like that all comes from you, right? Like inside. So you can learn the skills, you can learn how to physically set up decks and DJ, but what really I think like when you really start to shine is when you're bringing that bit of yourself and I'll play a song and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to play this. The last time I heard it was like in 2007. But then like someone else will come up to you and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that song since 2007. And then like you're vibing on the dance floor or wherever you're DJing. And so I think the journey has been developing taste and overcoming fear, just to perform. You're getting instant feedback. So the same way someone will tell you that something's good, someone will also come to you and be like, can you play some bangers? Like, and you're like, oh my god, I'm already playing bangers. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's so odd. It's so bizarre because of some DJs they play bangers, but their set is shit. So the mixing is horrendous, and you could just tell, like there's some DJs they just obviously just play number one hits, but this and obviously it's quite shit because they're just following trends. But I think like obviously a good DJ such as yourself, as you mentioned before, is developing that taste level. So
Yeah, but I think I would say like yes, there are some people that you have to know like when you want to be ready to play and what level you want to be at as well. Like as a DJ, like you want to figure out where you want to be in your artistry before like you're stepping out. Um, but there's so many factors into like what is a good set and what isn't because it could be like, for example, we met at Ace Hotel lobby, right? Like
yeah,
the it was like a pre drink kind of vibe. Like it was my set finished at 10, and really and truly depended on the DJ. You don't know what vibe that audience you could have received any DJ.
Yeah.
It wasn't a specific genre or time or whatever it was. And so because of that, I think there's so many different factors as to what makes a good set or a good event or a good whether that vibe is actually happening. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a DJ myself, but when I hear it, I just know, oh, it's working right now.
Hmm.
So it's super important. It's super important. So
A
so
nice
yeah,
feeling when your set's working and people are really, really vibing with it,
I
definitely.
like that's how, like I had to like tell you like your set is dope.
What did you like about it?
I just it was just good vibes. I just remember I can't tell you all the tunes I was listening to, but I just remember the vibe. You know, so,
Feeling, yeah, and
so
that's
I
the most
remember the
important
I
bit.
remember
Like,
the
you've
vibe.
gotta, yeah, that's nice. It's like the energy.
Yeah, definitely, 110%, 110%. And like when I was going through your Instagram account, I was like, what? Oh, you direct as well? No, you do this as well. Did you like Well, obviously you're a director as well. Did you go to film school for that, or are you self-taught?
No, I am self-taught. So I studied uh, English literature at university,
Mm.
and I started off copywriting, and I then discovered that photography, I really enjoyed photography. And then I discovered that I could even easier tell a story by making film. And so it was a process of like trying to figure out how I want to express myself depending on what I was trying to say. Because some stuff sits better in an article, and some stuff is feels like a film, right? Or a documentary or a music video, or like I have a set number of or ever growing number of ideas. And sometimes now when a project comes, I'm like, oh yeah, that thing that I thought of like 3 years ago, like bam, it fits into like this project or this brief or this artist. And so it's all about that kind of trying to make sure that you're not trying to force a scenario or force a project. It's about the synergy and when things like kind of come together. And so yeah, I really really enjoyed directing. Really enjoy the process of visualizing something. So most recently I've been directing music videos, and it feels so amazing to be able to visualize something that was originally created for audio. So like you're adding like another dimension to it. I'm quite a visual person. Actually, on my Instagram, if you go on there, it's like a gallery of this part of my world, this super creative part, the super explorative part, my findings, like what I'm up to, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Are there any particular artists or filmmakers, perhaps, that have that inspire you?
Any particular artist, you say?
Yeah, it could be and like anyone, like a painter, musician, film director, writer, poet, anyone.
Um, you know what? The people that actually really inspire me are real people and
Yep.
places. And
Mm.
so because I spend a lot of my time on screen, as in not on screen, but like looking at screens and editing and this kind of stuff, I don't spend a lot of my time, a big chunk of it, I don't spend it necessarily uh seeking other content, because the stuff that I like to digest is usually for entertainment. So I really like watching like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and like Modern Family and that kind of stuff. Or like I really like watching like Ocean's 11, for example.
Mm.
I like stuff that gets my mind going, like directorially as well. So I wouldn't say that I specifically am inspired by specific people, but generally people inspire me, whether you're like Solange or like you're like my best mate Shanika. Like there's conversations everywhere that I'm like, wow, like I either really want to like be more curious, or oh, I've seen that like dress and I really would love to see that in on this person, or I really like the colors. And so life is like a constant like inspiration all the time. Like I think during this lockdown period as well, like it's been really nice to recenter my focus in home life and look at my family around me and think, oh wow, like these people are actually really amazing, and they're inspiring me again to like create new things or whatever.
Oh, definitely. So, yeah, I'm just curious. Like, obviously, real life people inspire you, which I think is awesome. Do you like to watch interviews? Like, I like to do that myself sometimes. If there's like a character, like certain type of characters that inspire me, I like to watch their interviews and stuff
I
like
really
that.
like watching Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talks. I
Mm,
think I think they're really insightful, especially it comes with to do with like my own journey and phases and what kind of stuff I'm like looking for. I really like watching interviews with like Michelle Obama or Oprah because I love the way that delicate conversations are handled. Um, there's a film called Belle, and do you know what? While I'm speaking to you, I'm gonna Google the director's name because she's a woman. Belle film, and she's a Ghanaian woman.
okay.
Um, and I remember watching Belle. Ama Asante, that's her name. Ama Asante, she's a British filmmaker. Yeah. And when I watched Belle, um, the film was set in the time when the Zong slave ship was coming over from, I believe it was West Africa to the UK.
Yeah.
And so the conversations themselves were quite heavy and like um, just, you know, they required a level of uh, sensitivity. And when I was watching the film, I was like, oh my gosh, who directed this? Because the film work and the script feels like poetry and it feels really soft for like a conversation that's really like emotionally taxing and very difficult. And then straight away, I found out that the woman was not only, sorry, the director was not only a woman, but also a black woman. And that connection to me wasn't, um, I didn't necessarily go into this going, oh, it better be directed by a black woman. But in hindsight, I was watching it and I was like, wow, I can really feel that there's like a different treatment of this film. It's been handled in a different way, and that I found really inspirational and
Mm,
admirable. And it inspired me in the sense of thinking about my position when I'm directing for someone. So what, you
yeah.
know, how well informed am I? What is the best decision for the project? It doesn't mean also that you have to completely step away from a project, but it means that you have to really think, right, if I'm taking on this project that's let's say talking about issues pertaining to the black male experience in Compton, for example, like fine, I can come in as like bringing my skill set as a director,
Mm,
but if I want to look at integrity and authenticity, how much am I going to like go into that group of people or make it an experience um where we're including those voices as much as possible, and maybe even more so than possible, to be honest, to make sure that the project itself is amazing. Because the feeling that I felt watching Belle, I was like, whoa, like this is a beautiful film. So that's the kind of stuff that will stop me when I'm sort of taking in media or information. But it won't necessarily be a specific person, but there'll be moments like that that are like, wow, like I really like, or that really resonates with me, or it's made me think about
yeah.
my own practice.
Mm, mm. So, like, starting any type of directing projects, do you feel you have to have some level of connection with the artists?
If we're talking about music videos, so far,
Yeah. Mm,
I definitely work off of natural chemistry. So
okay.
yeah, you know, you have to, you know, it's a number of things. You have to have respect for someone's art. You have to want to be able to work with them and you know be intrigued with them as a person and as an individual. But then also looking at how well you vibe together and if there's chemistry, because I do believe in the power of collaboration, and I believe in like, you know, when you look at like Jay-Z and Kanye, you look at like Timberland and Missy, you think about like this natural chemistry that uh, um, translates into creativity. And so, as a director, I'm looking at, let's say, DOPs or editors or producers that I don't even have to say much, but you're already on my wave. You understand what it is that we're trying to achieve together, and we're just getting on with it. And I'm doing the same as well. And so, I'm quite curious to like find that kind of chemistry when I'm being approached for direction with a musician. I'm like, okay, cool. Like you're exciting me. Like you're pushing me as a director. You're making me want to level up. And then also there, and I I tend to say to the person straight away, I'm like, you know, this is going to be a collaborative process from beginning to end. So I'm going to go off and I'll find my ideas and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's your face, right? You're the musician. So I want to make sure that you're comfortable. It's close to like you, but is also tapping into my own artistry and stuff that I want to explore. So something I look for is trust between the both of us. And I
Definitely.
think that's the key. Yeah.
I agree with you 110%. And I really enjoyed watching your video. Is it Alexandra London? Talk
Alexander,
Drum,
yeah.
Alexandra London, yeah, Talking Drum music video. So, how did that project come about?
Um, it came about because Joss, who manages Alexander, and Alexander just asked me. So I've known them for a while in and out of the creative scene, and they asked me, and I said yes. And then straight away, I sat with the song for like a week, and then I went through my own personal process of going through ideas, and then it was probably one of the smoothest projects I've ever worked on. And so it was a simple question of picking up the phone and being like, "Hey, Almass, do you want to work on this? I'm sending you the song." Me listening to it and going like, "Yeah, of course," straight away. Um, yeah, it was super super simple.
Nice, nice. So, from the time you first listened to it till up till production, how long was that? How long was that period of
Do you
time?
mean like completing the project, like
Um,
or going
like
into
first, like
production?
maybe like day one on the shoot, day one on the shoot.
Um, I think they approached. It was this time last year that we were in production, and it was. I think they approached me in March, and then by first bank holiday of May, we were shooting.
Oh, cool. Oh, nice. How long did it take to shoot the whole project?
We shot the music video in one day with a call time of 3 a.m. and a wrap time of 9 p.m.
3 p.m. to 3 p.m.
3
to
a.m.
3 a.m. to, oh, excuse me,
9
3
p.m.
a.m. to 9 p.m. Long hours,
That was
hard
the
work.
actual shoot, and then we had another couple of months of post production after. So going through edits, coloring, grades,
Yeah,
making sure that the story was right, making sure the dialogue was right, all of that stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Super interesting. Some of the monologue sequences is super interesting. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
like the story behind it. So, um, what's the song about? Like, what was the story behind the actual track?
Um, the story behind the track. So Alexander's probably the best person to speak about, to be honest, on
Okay,
his
okay,
art in that sense. But the themes were definitely homecoming. The themes were um, Alexander uses a lot of inspiration from Negro ancestral chanting and messaging and conversation. He's exploring his Yoruba roots as well. So that these were the elements that we were drawing out and we were like looking at. But I think, yeah, if I think that question would probably be, he'd probably be the best person
yeah,
to
of
answer
course,
on the
yeah,
actual song
definitely,
itself, you know, and
yeah,
where
yeah.
his processes were.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. So, what are you working on at the moment? Any
So at the moment, I am working on a few things. So I'm in the process of a music video with another artist. We're in the final stages of that. It's a very, very different video. It's exploring my skill set in cinematic storytelling. I've I I'm definitely using those kinds of opportunities to explore my directorial skills and like try new things each time. So I'm working on that at the moment. I've just finished editing an amazing documentary called For the Record, which explores DJs in New York, LA, and Chicago, um, who also are women. Um, so it's really amazing, like it's a really insightful and educational film that's a series of accounts and experiences of what it's like being active within music and in America as well,
Mm.
as women, as queer women, as women of color, like so many intersections. It's awesome. I really love it because it's quite on the ground, quite like scrapbooky, but really authentic and honest, I think. So I'm working on that. Just finished editing a video for an artist called Goya Gambani, who originally is from Brooklyn and now lives and now is in the UK. And we've he came to me with this footage that he'd already filmed and asked me if I would join on the edit. And I think I'm really excited for its release. It's going to come out in the next couple of weeks. Really, really cool piece to work on. And then other than that, I've been working on my DJ stuff and building my skill set and honestly just trying to get better. I think that is my drive, is always trying to get better at my craft and get better at refining my skills and knowledge on whichever topic I'm working on. Immediately, I'm going to be going off the grid, and I'm so looking forward to that. So I enjoy, and I have to take time off away from all of this stuff in order to make sure that I'm inputting and just regathering myself a little bit, because I can then tend to work round the clock, and it doesn't do well for my relationships that I want to build, my personal relationship within myself, sometimes I just want to like wake up and do lots of yoga and eat well and just spend some time letting my mind relax, because then when I come back, I'm charged up with all of this energy. And so that is immediately on the cards. In the next few days, I'm like, peace, I'm out.
Oh, nice. That sounds like a useful tip for a lot of people.
You just have to find out your own rhythm and what charges you up. And the stillness that I gain and that I try to create is just more valuable than anything else. And I wouldn't be able to create if I didn't have those other outputs or inputs rather. So I tend to do things like pottery, or I travel, or I paint, or I spend a lot of time like in nature. These are my inspirations. And then it allows me to like look further inward.
Nice. So what advice would you give to anyone that wants to get into DJing or directing?
My advice would be just do it. Like just start. Like in your head there's so many barriers in this world. So before you even explore like the world's barriers, you've got barriers within yourself. We've all got fears, we've all got things that we tell each other like we can't do that, or we're not meant to be, we don't belong there, or whatever it is. First of all, work through those, and that's a constant battle. You're still going to be working through them forever, because new things will always arise and pop up. But the world is ever changing, and the first rule is that there's actually no rules. People will say, oh, like you're not meant to do that, or like the usual commissioning process isn't that way. Like, fuck the usual commissioning process. Do you know what I mean? Like, work on your idea, make sure that like you are working on your craft and you are the best version of yourself. And then whenever those opportunities come your way, you'll be ready. The worst thing is when an opportunity comes your way and then you're like, oh my God, like I should have done that, or I can't do that, or I don't have the skill set. So in the meantime, those opportunities will always come at you. That's the beautiful thing about life. Life always presents itself. But you have to make sure that in the times in between, what are you doing with your time? Like how are you spending that hour? Are you going to spend that hour relaxing? Which is fine. You're going to spend the hour working on something? Are you going to spend the hour, whatever you do with it, that's your time. So you can't be mad at like stuff not happening or happening. You just have to say, well, this is what I've got and this is how I'm going to step up or respond, or not sometimes, because sometimes not everything requires a response.
Definitely. I think this lockdown is definitely a great opportunity to try and level up on whatever you're trying to get into. So yeah, 110%. Yeah, just try to like, just self-educate yourself, read books. There's loads of like free online courses, so there's literally no excuse to not level up during this time.
And it doesn't always mean like, accomplishing stuff that's external. Sometimes it just means just sitting with yourself. But you have to figure out what it is that you need in that moment. Like, I know that I need this month off. I know that it doesn't matter, like, and I'm trying really, really hard to protect that space. And so that is my power. My power is being able to listen to myself and understand and trust myself. That's the first rule. Like, when it comes to navigating in this world, is you have to like yourself. You have to every night, or whenever I do journal, my journals usually end with like, don't worry, Almas, like I've got you. Like I talk to myself like I'm my friend. Because if that's if I need to hear it, I need to hear it. And I can give that to myself.
Yeah.
So understanding that power that you have within yourself is unmatched.
110%. You're the master system of your computer, of your CPU system. So
Exactly.
so you do have to program yourself, and self like it's super important to self-program yourself and like
Mhm.
just feed yourself those positive affirmations,
Mhm.
and like especially like when you're starting your day, just give your just energize yourself, like watch something you really enjoy doing. I think it's super important to know what you love, to know what you like, to know what you enjoy. It's
Mhm.
and just do, like if there's a movie you like to watch, watch the movie. Watch the movie.
Right. And
If
you're
there's
only
a
going to know if you like it or not if you try
definitely,
it. You have to just
definitely,
try. You have to be curious. You can't stunt yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
have to say, no, I'm just going to go out there and just give it a go. And, think
mm,
about if you were talking to a child version of yourself,
yeah.
you would never not encourage a child to explore.
Of course not. Of course not.
You to say, go and try that stuff. And you can't lose that within you. Sometimes you have to parent yourself in that way.
Of
So
course.
don't worry, Almas. Like you've never tried DJing before, but
Mm,
what's the worst that could happen?
definitely.
You're
Definitely.
you're never gonna know until you do it, and no one is gonna do it the way that you do it.
Of course.
And so you're already ahead of the game.
Of course. Everyone's unique. Everyone's thumbprint is totally different. That's what makes everyone special. So you
Exactly.
can't listen to like, oh, you can't do this because of this, or you can't do this because of this.
Just gotta go and try and
Just,
see.
just like life is short. Life is short. You have to do whatever you want to do in your life. Whatever makes you happy, just do it. And it doesn't matter how old you are either. You could be in your 40s, you could be in your 50s. It's never too late to try new things.
Exactly.
It's never too late. That's why I set up this platform I created this platform as a tool to encourage and inspire people. Period. That's it. Just inspire people, encourage people, like, whether you're an artist or like, any type of person. I just want to push, you know, people to do their thing, you know what I mean? So but yeah, definitely, definitely. I admire like everyone I've interviewed so far. I admire all of them. I admire everyone because it takes courage to truly believe in yourself and like just go out there and like just do your thing.
Hmm.
You may think, oh, I'm not qualified or I can't do this. I can't. Just as you said, just do it. So
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. So people that want to educate themselves about what you do, like, where can they find you on social media?
Almassbadat.com. That is the hub. My
Nice,
website is where you need to go.
nice,
That's
nice.
where I have all of my work. That's where I usually will share things that I've put out. My name is across. That's what I am on, like on Instagram or on Twitter. Instagram is probably my main social platform that I use because I'm a visual person. I find it quite easy to share on there. But if you're looking for like work, almassbadat.com is the place. It's where I will share my playlist or my sets, or like if I'm linking to like a podcast that I've done, like for example, this, I will put it on my website. So then people know that if they want to find out where Almas is or what she's doing, it's there. So
Nice,
yeah.
nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I'll link that in the description. So, is there anything else you like to share? Any words of wisdom for anyone that like perhaps is struggling throughout this period, or anything at all?
I would say like the first step before you can't do something before you figured out what it is that you want to do. So that inward conversation is just really important. Like just make sure that it sits well with yourself. No one's going to tell you what to do, or you can't go by other people's standards. You have to go by your own. And then in terms of maybe any words of wisdom, one of my best friends, Jerome, very talented writer for television and
Mm,
story producer, and we were having a conversation about having so many different projects on the go, or balancing like life and work, for example. And he gave me this really great analogy, and it was, when you're tidying your room, you can't make your bed and hoover at the same time. You have to like make your bed, then hoover, then fold your clothes. You have to do it one thing at a time. So if you feel like you're overwhelmed by lots of things, just remember that like you physically cannot do 5 things at the same time. So stop trying to do the most all the time, and just take a minute and realize that you are a human with limitations, and that's okay. You don't have to do a night shift, but what you can do is let someone know that you're going to take an extra 2 weeks to finish off the job. So you're not stressing so much, like, and if you're really going through an art process, hopefully if you put up good boundaries and you communicate effectively beforehand, then your client should respect that you are an artist working from the heart, and so that you can't really rush that stuff sometimes. But it's about communicating that first and saying to someone, actually, I've taken these pictures, I want to take a bit of time on them, so I'm going to take 3 weeks. And then the expectation is set. And you've given yourself, that you could do it in a week, but I'm going to give myself another 2 weeks just in case. And then you stop your anxiety around it. So yeah.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. Just take time. There's no rush. You can only do what you're gonna do. And also, divine timing works like regardless of what you've got planned. So nothing is ever late. Everything is just as it's meant to be.
Definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me.
You know what? I really do appreciate your time, Almass. Like, seriously, like, I appreciate this. Like, obviously, just carry on. Thanks. Like, just keep on doing what you're doing, and like, again, thanks a lot for this. And yeah. So I think, I think that's it for today.
I look forward to listening back.
Yeah. I'll post it on my YouTube channel anyway, so people can catch it there. So just tell us your website again.
Almassbadat.com. So ALMASS and then badat.com.
Oh, beautiful. Lovely. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Enjoy the rest of your day.